Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all ones. I am Lunar D8, and this is part 31 of the unrehearsed creepypasta narrations, where I pick a random fucking creepypasta and I read it without practicing it or knowing what the fuck I'm reading. This is how I feel about the previous part. So yeah, this is part 31. I hope whatever story is next is less nauseating. God damn it. Okay. Have to wait for my phone to load. Fucking hell. Okay. Let's see. Okay, there was a story posted. If I can get past all the advertisements. Please, there's so many advertisements. That's my real fear. So many fucking ads. Okay, so this one's called I Know the Real Reason Why Silent Hills was Cancelled. Written by emails from the Darkside. Average rating of 8.35. Published May 16th, 2022. Okay. And we got an ad for I don't even know what it's trying to advertise. All I know is who advertises on creepypasta.com? What is your demographic? Obviously, it's people like me that read creepypastas, but you're going to have better luck when you try to sell me anime stuff. Okay. What's the estimated reading time? 5 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. I Know the Real Reason Why Silent Hills was Cancelled. Written by emails from the Darkside. I had to burp. The following randomly appeared in my Gmail inbox in 2016 as I close more advertisements. I have no idea who sent it, and I have no idea why it was sent to me of all people. All I know is what it said. I know the real reason why Silent Hills was cancelled. For those who aren't into video games, I'll give you a Clip Notes background. From 2012 to 2015, there was a new Silent Hill game in development. In addition to noted game designer Hideo Kojima, many auteurs of horror, or amateurs of horror as I assume it's supposed to mean, but it says auteurs, like A-U-T-E-U-R-S, so I assume it's supposed to say amateurs. Okay, I have to click read more. Load! Now there's a advertisement for skin cream. Stop advertising things to me. I don't want to buy anything. Including manga artists Junji Ito and filmmaker Guillermo del Toro. Oh, it's that one guy who did you want to describe it as a giant penguin? Not sure. In August of 2014, a playable teaser was released, simply titled PT. I think I vaguely remember that. It was widely acclaimed and generated a ton of hype surrounding what fans were sure would be the best installment of the Silent Hill saga. You know what? I might actually, I think I want to do at least, I'm going to do two more. I'm going to do two more stories after this one. After that, I might see if there's any new horror games out, which obviously is a terrible plan for me to do just because I still need to go to sleep so I can go back to work tonight. It's like, how do you fight insomnia? With more insomnia. It was widely acclaimed and generated a ton of hype surrounding what fans were sure would be the best installment of the Silent Hill saga. You know, the name of this skincare that popped up again is called Foreo. It's like Foreo, and then it says Sweden under it. But I'm such a fucking fat ass, all I see is Oreo. Okay. Then, in 2015, Japanese entertainment conglomerate Konami suddenly canceled the project amid widespread criticism from fans. PT was removed from the PlayStation Store and made impossible to reinstall. Initial news reported that Konami was dissatisfied with the direction in which Kojima was taking the franchise. As time went on, the news changed its tune, saying the game was canceled due to corporate reshuffling at Konami. Both of these statements are false. I know because I was involved in the game's production. If you look at the Wikipedia page for Silent Hills, you'll see under cancellation that the video game website Polygon reported getting an anonymous tip confirming that the game had been canceled. I was the one who gave them that anonymous tip. I did it because I need people to know the truth. Of course, no one believed me, so it was never actually published. So I decided to send the story to someone at random. Maybe you can help me. And now it's an advertisement for a lawnmower. Do you think I go outside and touch grass, people? Okay, actually, I love to watch. I like to sit out in a field and watch clouds go by. Heck, it's kind of nice sometimes if there's a really big thunderstorm. I can sit in a folding chair. Yes, maybe I should have better chairs. But still, a metal folding chair. Sit on my porch because I have a little bit of an awning over it. And I can just watch the rain. It's kind of nice. Yes, I'll drink an ice cold Pepsi when I do it. I'm not going to sit out there without a drink. The truth of the matter is the game was canceled because, to put it simply, we went too far. Early on in development, someone involved with the production of PT decided to do something a little different. They designed it so that the main ghost, Lisa, would follow the player throughout the game, causing scary noises and shadows throughout the teaser. Of course, the player only looks forward, so the model of Lisa is never actually seen. There was a lot of talks about wasting time developing a model that would constantly follow the player without being seen, when it could have easily been done with some simple sound design and effect, but ultimately decided it was best just to leave it be. Big mistake. As the teaser was developed, many of us, of course, would test it to make sure it was going well. Anyone who played it was immensely excited at first. We knew we had a massive hit on our hands. As time went on, though, the people who playtested the teaser started coming into work exhausted. I'm always exhausted. At first, we just figured they were overworked. I'm also overworked, so I guess it goes hand in hand. Creating a video game is extremely intricate work, and developers spend long hours trying to perfect every little detail, especially with a release of this magnitude. And then one day, one of the developers, whose names I won't disclose here, didn't come in at all. Those of us that knew him were immediately worried. He wasn't the kind of guy to just hop in this work. We called him numerous times, but there was no answer. Eventually, one of the other developers, who was friends with the missing guy, called his wife to ask whether or not he was okay. After the call, it was said the man's face was a picture of shock. The man hadn't come into work because the previous night he'd gone down to the basement and hung himself from one of the rafters. Honestly, like, the best thing to do with a rafter would be just like hang a heavy punching bag from it. Yes, I may be fat, but I lift weights and I try to get stronger. So yes, I'm a failure at it, but I'm trying. No, I don't have a place to hang an actual punching bag. I just have one of those standing bag punching things that, has a base filled with sand and water. Well, I mean, originally I tried filling with water and then it would just fall over. Because it's like one of those big things. It's like, I don't know how much weight it would have, but at least it looks like it has enough room for like 30 to 50 gallons of water. Yes, I'm taking a blind guess. But it wouldn't stay up. Then I just tried dumping the water out, filling it with sand. Still wouldn't. So then I had to fill it with sand and then put it in water in increments so that it would soak into the sand. It at least gives enough weight not to fall over. But of course I can never empty the damn thing, because the sand is turned into a rock. Back to the story. Worry turned into shock, shock into sorrow, sorrow into grief. The man had no history of depression or anything that could have led to suicide. A week later, another person didn't show up. The first death was still fresh in our minds, so we tried to prepare ourselves for what we assumed was inevitable. Sure enough, about an hour into what would have been their shift, we got a phone call from the person's family. The night before, they had made their way to the roof of their apartment building and jumped. I was there when we got this news directly. I remember one of the people in the room muttering to themselves, "What the fuck is going on?" If I have to be honest, and I do, I think a good many of us knew in the back of our minds what was going on, but we didn't want to accept it. At one point, someone from the Public Security Intelligence Agency, the Japanese FBI, I wonder what you have to do in order to be a member of the Japanese FBI. Like, what kind of tests do you take? What kind of grades do you need? Like, what is considered, qualification for that job? And also, the people that do qualify for the job, why do they do it? Does it pay well? Is there some sort of good medical benefit? Is it just like they're like really big on justice and trying to make the world a better place? I don't know. Anyone out there in the Japanese FBI or anything? Like, what was your motivation for being awesome? I guess. I don't know. Though it sounds like it'd be a lot of work. I don't know if I could really do that stuff. Granted, I was able to do really good in school and stuff. It's just, I don't feel I'm nearly as smart as I used to be. But then again, I guess that's the downside of getting older and numerous concussions. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they were dissatisfied with what they got. But while I was talking to them, I couldn't help but feel like they weren't telling us everything. I guess I should have expected as much. What intelligence agency tells its people everything? But it definitely aroused suspicion. It wasn't until 3 more people died that we got the email. Before one of the people killed themselves, they sent something to our office's email address. I never actually got to see it for myself, but one of the people who handles our emails is a friend of mine, and she did get to see it. According to her, it simply read, "She won't stop following me. I can feel her breath on the back of my neck. Can't keep doing this. Goodbye." It wasn't long after that we got word that the game was being cancelled. All of our progress over 3 years was gone, and at that point, I think most of us were relieved. We were more relieved than disappointed. I'm hungry. Maybe I'll go to Burger King after a bit. Whatever was going on needed to stop, and damn the expense. I couldn't bring myself to go to the first few funerals. I know that's selfish, but what can I say? Well, that would be a really depressing situation. So, I can't really blame you. That would be really sad. And it's just, pride doesn't help. I don't know. I think I'm starting to fall asleep. I want to read more stories. Because I'm stubborn. And apparently I started talking like Hank Hill now. I've never been to Texas. Anyway. I couldn't bring myself to go to the first funeral of that. I didn't want it to be real. Eventually I made the effort to go to the funeral of the man who had sent the email. His wife was inconsolable. It wasn't until halfway through the service that she managed to get any kind of words out. I went up to her to pay my respects, and out of nowhere, I remember asking her why she thought it had happened. She was obviously taken aback by the answer, but being the strong woman she is, she wiped her tears and told me. She said that for a year or so before the death, the man had had a lot of trouble sleeping. He had never had issues with insomnia before, but suddenly he was lucky to get as much as 3 hours. As time went on, he just got worse and worse. He became frightened of his home after dark. Sometimes he'd even go out at a hotel just to avoid being in the house after sundown. He started rapidly losing weight. His eyes were in a constant glaze, as if he was constantly staring into something beyond what anyone else could see. The one time his wife got up, the nerve to ask what was wrong, the man uttered one word. Lisa. It wasn't long after that he killed himself. The wife told me point blank that she wondered if she'd been responsible, but I assured her she wasn't. I gave her a hug and said goodbye. I don't think any of us were surprised when PT was removed from the PlayStation store. and made unable to download. I'd like to think they did it for the right reasons, and not for the problems of public relations, although none of us ever said anything about it to each other. I think we all knew. We'd let something loose. I didn't believe it at first. How could I? Then the other night, as I was making my way towards my bedroom, I felt the unmistakable tinge of cold, fetid breath down the back of my neck. I turned around with a start. Nothing was behind me. I know what's to come, and I am terrified. The email ended there. I couldn't make heads or tails of it first. I was sure it was a friend playing a prank or something. I archived the email and pretty much forgot all about it. Then in 2019, an indie developer named Lance McDonald used what he called camera patches to allow the player in PT to look 360 degrees. As it turns out, after a certain point in the game, the ghost Lisa actually does follow directly behind you throughout the rest of the teaser. That reminded me of the email, which I'm really glad I saved. I still don't exactly know what this means, and I'm all the more afraid because of it. Credit emails from the Darkside. Yep, that was a good story. I actually enjoyed that one.